Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is, what is it today? Friday, July the 24th. No, it's July the 25th, 2025. And not really going to say it this morning. It's not a great morning at all here in the Macedon Ranges. It's very chilly, it's windy, it's overcast. Looks like we're going to get some rain. I'm sort of doing a bit of work from home today, so I think what I'm going to do is go home and put the fire on and make the most of these beautiful winters that we have. Great excuse to put the fire on and do nothing all day. Anyway, all right, on this day, 1987, where are we? Colombia's Miguel Happy Laura. I do remember Happy Laura. He was a good fighter back in the day. He defended his world bantamweight title with a knockout of Mexico's Antonio Avila in 4 rounds. That took place in Miami, Florida. In 1995, Argentina's Marcelo Dominguez won the cruiserweight title with a knockout of France's Akim Taffer in the 9th round. That fight took place in France. And way back in 1902, Jim Jeffries knocked out Bob Fitzsimmons in the 8th round of a scheduled 20, yes, 20, to retain the heavyweight title in San Francisco. What was it there? So this is Jeffries, made 2 defences, not retired at 19-0-2 with 16 knockouts. In 1905, came back in 1910 to challenge Jack Johnson for the championship, but was stopped in the 15th round. So they were the days, weren't they? Scheduled 20 rounders, and that was probably a bit light on, wasn't it? Haven't we seen some that have been scheduled for 50 or something like that? Crazy days, crazy days. All right, a little bit happening, I suppose, on the world front. News this morning that Alexander Usyk has ordered by the WBO to defend that belt against Joseph Parker. And I suppose in theory it's fantastic. It's awesome that Joseph Parker will finally get his shot. And look, and credit to, I suppose, the WBO on this occasion, where they're really enforcing it. None of this, no, well, we'll give you these options and that option. No, we're going to make you fight Joseph Parker. The issue, I suppose, is whether Alexander Usyk wants that fight. Apparently, they've only got 30 days to negotiate it. Now, I would have thought that Alexander Usyk's not going to want to do anything for about the next 130 days, as far as deciding opponents and all that sort of stuff. So, while I'm hoping that Joseph Parker gets his opportunity, I don't see it as a big money fight for Usyk. So this is where things are going to get a little bit murky and a little bit complicated, I think, because Alexander Usyk, for one, is not going to be pushed into making a decision within 30 days, or not just make a decision, but negotiate terms with Joseph Parker in the next 30 days. As I said, I don't think him or his team are really going to want to do anything for a while. So that is a bit of a red flag. And then, as I said, it's the money. While Joseph Parker 100% deserves the opportunity, I've been vocal about this along with a lot of other fans out there, that he 100% deserves the chance, but Alexander Usyk only wanting maybe one more fight. He says one, but who knows, he might have a couple left in him. Does he look at Joseph Parker and say, well, it's not a big money fight. I've got Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua sort of out there. Do I take one of those fights? I mean, Tyson Fury probably makes the most sense, doesn't it? Anthony Joshua, coming off a knockout loss at Dubois, probably doesn't have the same aura about him as he did. But Tyson Fury, I mean, he's pretty vocal. I thought the second fight was pretty much all Usyk, but the first one was close. Still a lot of people, though, including Tyson Fury, thinking that he won the second fight. But what it does, I suppose it's a little bit like the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor situation, where you've got one fighter that's won both of those first 2 fights, but there's still just a little bit of doubt in there and a little bit of controversy and all this sort of stuff, not to mention being, 2 of the biggest names in the sport. So this is the decision that Usyk and his team's going to have to make. But what it does, it then fragments the heavyweight division once again. If Usyk, and I wouldn't begrudge him, by the way, even though, again, Parker deserves the opportunity. It is a business. Usyk holds all the cards, and he might respectfully say to Joseph Parker, hey, I agree that you deserve the shot, but I'm sorry, I can make 3 times the money fighting Tyson Fury. He's only got a fight or two left, so he's got to make the best decisions for him in retirement. I think he'll do okay though, don't you? I think he'll survive. I think he'll manage to put food on the table for the rest of his life. But anyway, so, that's the only downside, is we might have the heavyweight titles fragmented again, which is always going to happen. I think we're living in a little bit of dream world or fantasy land if we think that, when someone wins an undisputed title, whether it be heavyweight or super middleweight, whatever it might be, that they're going to hang on to the belts forever. It just can't happen. It's almost impossible that one fighter's going to hang on to the belts. I mean, Canelo, I suppose, I was just going to say he's probably done the best, but he did lose that IBF belt, didn't he? So, but then got it back. So, yeah, look, either way, I respect Alexander Usyk's decision, whatever it is. Whether he does the right thing and gives Joseph Parker a fight for just, I suppose, the sake of the legitimacy of the sport, the integrity of the sport. Or the other way, if he says, hey, look, Joseph, mate, you've done well, but I'm taking the big money fight in Tyson Fury. And that would still be big. It would still be big. And all these things sort of happen for a reason. I think I have said in the past sort of a few videos that I don't think it had happened, and it's probably a fight that not many people would care about. But it was funny after the fight to see a lot of chatter about it. Look, a lot of negative chatter, but still people are talking about it. So I've got no doubt if Alexander Usyk decides to go that way, I think it'll be big. They do it in England though, at Wembley. I don't want to see it in Saudi Arabia. I want to see it at Wembley Stadium. They've got 100,000 people there. It will be huge. And then where does that leave Anthony Joshua, I suppose? Probably in the middle of nowhere. Maybe he fights Joseph Parker. That would probably make a lot of sense too if Usyk did fight Fury, where we had Joshua and Parker on the undercard, and then the winner of that fights Usyk in his last ever fight. Because I think I know they fought before, by the way, and Joshua beat him, but it's a long time ago. What was that, 2018, I think it might have been. But, I know there's probably the argument of, geez, you're going to make Joseph Parker fight another top contender to earn his shot. Well, it's just the way it is. I mean, some fighters can just walk up to a shot, a la Manny Pacquiao. Others have to do it the hard way, which looks like Joseph Parker might have to do. But anyway, I suppose, like I said the other day, where does Alexander Usyk rate in the scheme of things as far as history goes? Well, again, 8 fights in the heavyweight division. Does it qualify him to be in the top 5, if not top 10 of the all-time list? Look, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably still, I think you've got to make a case for him being top 10, but arguably, as I said, even though his scalps have been unbelievable with Joshua and Fury and Dubois, where do those 3 guys sort of rank in the scheme of things is what I'm probably getting at. I mean, you've got, always the big 3 people talk about. Ali, Fraser and Foreman had each other to fight, and throw Holmes in there, and he had a few to fight Tyson and all that sort of stuff. But this is the thing. I mean, you can only, and Lennox Lewis and these types of guys, same thing. But you can only fight the people that are around you in history. So, and Joshua and Fury, I suppose, have been unquestionably the 2 best heavyweights of the last, well, until Usyk came along, the 10 years sort of before that. So, look, it's an interesting one. I would probably put him on the fringes of sort of 8 to 12, if that makes sense. I'd have to have a really good look at it. It's just so hard to judge. It really is. I mean, really, if you're looking at resumes, he's probably got a better resume than fighters like Smoke and Joe Fraser. I mean, Smoke and Joe had the win over Ali, of course, at his peak, arguably his peak after the time out. But apart from that, I mean, he was beaten twice by Ali. After that, he was beaten twice by Foreman. Mate, I'm only just picking an example here about Smoke and Joe, by the way, because I'm certainly not going to get stuck into Joe Fraser. He's one of my favourite heavyweights of all time, just using as a bit of a benchmark, I suppose. I think we could make arguments for all the different heavyweights. And I shudder to say it, Rocky Marciano. Well, I think already Usyk's had twice the heavyweight sort of reign that Rocky Marciano did. But again, I'm going to have people come at me saying, "Oh, how could you possibly compare Alexander Usyk to Rocky Marciano?" So look, it's always fraught with danger. I'm going to say around that sort of 8 to 12 mark at this stage. Who knows? History judges you well after you're gone, so that will be the test. That will be the test. In another 20 years' time is probably when we'll look back at Alexander Usyk and say, just how good was he and how did he rate against those other great heavyweights? We'll see. All right, what else is going on? The bare knuckle. The bare knuckle is apparently about to hit Australia. Anthony Mundine is behind it. I've had a few people ask me my opinion. I don't like it, I'm sorry. Chock says it's going to be as big as the UFC. Maybe so. Maybe so. And maybe there's the element of people out there, the fans that love it. I'm just speaking my opinion. I hate it. I think it's absolutely barbaric. It really is. I know it's controlled. I know it's sanctioned properly and they've got all the medical staff and it's done the same way as boxing's done. That's just my personal opinion. I just don't like it. It's been hard enough to get my head around UFC, by the way. It's taken me a long time to sort of do that because I've always thought that UFC is pretty much legalised street fighting. But now I've watched a bit more of it. While I don't watch much of it, I do respect it, and I very much respect the fighters, just as much as I do boxers, no dramas whatsoever. And I suppose the same goes for bare knuckle fighters, but any fighter that jumps in the ring and prepares and gets in and has the courage to get in there, I respect. So it's got nothing to do with that. But I've just got this picture, and I'm sure you've all seen it, where that female fighter, and she's just busted up. I mean, her jaw's hanging down and missing teeth in her eye. I mean, it's shocking. Saying, I really love the fight and all this sort of, I mean, it's just me. It's just me. I just don't like the look of it. I don't like the premise of it. But it's just me. It's just me. And a lot of people have asked me my opinion. Well, there you have it. I will not watch bare knuckle. Look, it's not as bad as that other stupid sport. What is it? The slap shit. That is probably the worst thing that's ever been invented, I think. I just think that's just ridiculous. How do they decide who hits first, by the way? Because if you get the first good one in, well, it's pretty much all over, isn't it? I don't know. I've never watched it and never will. Do they flip a coin or how does it work? Does a champion get the first slap? I don't know. Not that I care. But yeah, but yeah, that's my opinion. Look, good on Chock Mundine for getting behind it. Look, it's a business. I've got no problem with it that way. And for all the people that want to watch it, hey, happy days. Good on you. Good luck. Conor McGregor's obviously heading the worldwide one. Now, I'm not sure whether this is the same thing, though, is it? I think it's a different organisation. I don't know. But Conor McGregor doing pretty big things. He's probably the perfect guy to have behind it over there, isn't he? He's full of charisma and probably business savvy as well. And Chock Mundine's obviously jumped on the same thing here. But will it take? Look, there has been a controversy about whether it should be allowed here. Well, 100% it should be allowed. If it ticks all the boxes and it's no different to UFC or boxing, then 100% it should be on. But does it mean that I like it and will watch it? Absolutely not. Look, I'm probably just too much old school these days. I'm in my 50s now, so I'm probably in the stage of my life where I'm pretty much set in my ways. I love the art of boxing, and as I said, I have sort of taken a little bit to the UFC, of respecting it a little bit more after watching a bit more of it. But I'm just boxing. That's just me. Each to their own. But yeah, what else is next? I suppose that's the question we have to ask, isn't it? What will they invent next? Well, I mean, we've seen these other things as well, as far as, well, they do the team fights or something, don't they? Where they have teams of fighters against each other. Will they do tag team bare knuckle or something? Who knows? There's always something going on. But for me, I'll just stick to the boxing at this stage. Morning, how you doing? All right. What else have we got happening here? I've seen a few things in the last few days. Oh, okay. Manny Pacquiao. He's suddenly the fighter that everyone wants a bit of a piece of. I've seen Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia have both put up their hands to fight the Pac-Man. Well, I don't know what's next. Is he going to? I haven't really taken much notice this week. Is he going to fight Mario Barrios in a rematch? I hope not. It wasn't a great fight. It really wasn't. And full credit to Manny for what he did. But Mario Barrios, I did see the comments with Paulie Malignaggi, and I agreed 100% with him. Look, one thing I probably don't agree with, though, is like Paulie's in an okay position to have his say. He's been there, he's won world titles and all that sort of stuff, but I probably didn't like when he said, what did he say, he's the worst? Did he say he was shit or something? I can't remember what he said, but he said he's pretty much the worst world champion out there. Look, not going to probably go that far, but I just didn't like the way he touched gloves. I didn't like the way he was humble towards Manny. You got to have the mindset of whether it's Manny Pacquiao or not. He's in the ring trying to take what's yours, which is his green belt, WBC belt. And to go out there and touch gloves with him and hug him and show him way too much respect is not what a champion does. Can you imagine Marvin Hagler doing that back in the day? If someone trying to take his belt, ooh, that would not have happened. But yeah, look, Ryan Garcia, look, I think both of those, like all those fights, actually, I think Manny has a good chance of beating Barrios if they fought again. Maybe Barrios would step it up a little bit this time and probably take it a bit more seriously. I think Manny, look, from what I saw, regardless of I think he's his footwork's obviously slowed down, his hand speed slowed down. Not that he was ever a big puncher at welterweight, but not that really matters for him anyway. Such a great fighter, the power probably doesn't matter. But yeah, everything about him is slowed down, and so it should. The guy's 46 years of age. But having said that, I think strange enough, I think if he was going to pick two, I suppose, profile welterweights to fight, I actually don't mind the idea of Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero. I think they're both very, very beatable for Manny Pacquiao. I really do. You've got Romero, who, look, fought out of his skin against Ryan Garcia, but you've seen him have some very average fights, Romero. And I think that he doesn't do anything particularly well. I don't think... It's windy here, sorry about that, guys. I don't think that Manny Pacquiao is just going to stand at a distance and let him pot shot like Ryan Garcia did. Manny would be in and out. I think that would be a pretty easy fight for Manny, from what I saw the other night anyway. Let me know what you think. And even Ryan Garcia, I mean, Ryan said, he'll knock Manny out with that left hook. I don't think Ryan Garcia has got the tools. I really don't. I mean, obviously it's also got to do with the frame of mind he comes into the ring with, what Ryan Garcia is going to turn up. But I just think Manny's a clever fighter. I mean, geez, you don't get much more experience than him. I don't think he's going to allow Ryan Garcia to snap that left hook in and hit him like he did against Haney and numerous others. I think Manny's got the smarts. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I don't think Ryan Garcia has got the smarts to go with Manny Pacquiao. So I actually think both of those fights are very, very winnable for Manny Pacquiao. Should he stay away from the likes of Norman and Ennis? Absolutely. Ennis is, of course, going up, so it's not going to matter. Even Conor Benn, I think Manny would probably, have a great chance of beating Conor Benn as well. I mean, Conor Benn is just one dimension, one gear. That's all he's got. So I think he'd be pretty predictable for Manny. But having said that, I'm not getting too carried away, because we had a fighter the other night who didn't engage, didn't put on any pressure, didn't put any heat on Manny, didn't rough him up, didn't really do anything. So I'll be careful what I say, without probably seeing him there with a live opponent. One thing he'll probably get against someone like, say, Conor Benn, is that someone that's just going to go after him for 12 rounds. So can he handle the heat? Who knows? But look, I don't know. Again, as I said, like what I saw last Saturday night in Vegas, I think he's a legitimate chance of beating some of those guys. But if I'm being honest, I still want him to probably retire. Worst case, maybe take the Barrios rematch, because of course it's very winnable. Get the belt and then retire. The Floyd Mayweather fight continues to get thrown around. I don't think, from as far as I know, Floyd has actually said anything yet about the fight. And just, I suppose, for the record, I think if they did actually fight again, even if they are, what's Floyd? Is he 50 yet? I think he might be. He still beats Manny Pacquiao. It's an absolute replay of the first fight. I don't care if they fight 10 times. Floyd Mayweather beats Manny Pacquiao 10 times. I didn't see anything. I mean, what was the first fight? 10 years ago. And I think Manny has slowed down considerably since then, as he should, obviously. He's 10 years older. Floyd Mayweather, the way he always fought and the way he's always looked after himself has always looked pretty good. And I think even at 50, he would get the job done. Would we pay? Look, that's the next question to ask. would we legitimately pay to watch a 50-year-old fighter? Hang on, what am I? So he'd be, I think he was 19 at the Atlanta Olympics from memory, 19 or 20. So what's that, 29 years ago? So he's probably, he's probably 48, 49, maybe. He's not 50 yet. But either way, would we pay to see a 48, 49-year-old Mayweather fight a 46 or probably 47 by that stage Pacquiao? I reckon they would. I reckon we all would. And I've never had a problem with, I think I've said in the past, rather than fighting all the young tigers, if they still want to fight each other. I think, obviously it wouldn't be as big as the first one, but I'll tell you what, it'd probably outsell Canelo and Crawford this year. That's where we're sort of going with it. So, I don't know, who knows? I'll tell you what, though, if Floyd did have the monetary problems they're all talking about, which I still doubt, by the way, geez, I'll tell you what, he'd probably take home $100 million. It wouldn't hurt, would it? But only he'll make the decision. But look, you know, he's made a lot of money doing these exhibitions against, social media stars and influencers and all that sort of stuff. I still don't know what an influencer is, by the way. What actually do they do? If they recommend something, am I supposed to listen to them and buy it? Is that how it works? I don't know. I still don't know. Again, showing my age a little bit there. But, yeah, I think he's looked pretty good against those guys. Is this any different to that? Of course, Manny Pacquiao is going to be a lot better than the Gottis and that of the world and the Logan Pauls, but don't know. We'll see. But I for one think that we would pay to see it. Of course we would. Maybe put Ricky Hatton in the mix. Maybe he wants another crack as well. Who knows? But anyway, we will see. Guys, look, that's going to do it for today. It's very, very chilly, so I'm going to just quickly head home, put that fire on, and do some work in front of that today, and probably still sulk after last night's result, after the Blues went down again, this time to the Hawks. I'm just at the point now where it's like a shrug of the shoulders, and they lost again, whatever. Anyway, enough of the football. Have a great Friday. We'll catch you tomorrow.